Alice Cooper beat Ozzy Osbourne to the living legend honour by 2 years. And at 10 months his senior, the American shock rocker seems to have arrived at the big 6-0 in much better physical shape. That could be because the hard-hitting horror he introduced to rock and roll has only ever been an act.
I think it took a while for the public to catch on to my sense of humor, and now they understand it, you know. But, you know, my dad was a pastor, my grandfather was a pastor, my wife's father's a pastor, and I'm Christian, you know. But I still don't have any problem playing the villain because I think it's classical.
Not to mention a lot more fun.
By far. The villain always gets the best lines. I mean, you know, think of any movie you've ever seen and think of, you know, who really had the best lines in the movie. You know, the Joker had all the great lines in Batman. Captain Hook always had the best lines in Peter Pan. You know, the Sheriff of Nottingham had that great snappy comeback. Yeah, the villain's a lot more fun to play.
But what about the prissy name?
Alice Cooper is just, it was something we came up with years ago, 30 years ago, that was, there were too many rock heroes. We needed a rock villain. And I was more than happy to be that villain. And, you know, rather than come up with a name like, you know, some horrific name, I felt that that name was scary enough. It had a real sinister quality to it. Alice Cooper did. And it stuck. I don't know why, but it stuck.
And it's a name that has done very well, not only for Alice, whose real name is Vincent Furnier, but also for the members of his original band. The story goes that as Alice Cooper was the name of the whole band, Alice has since had to pay a yearly royalty to the others for his continued use of the moniker. Although no one knows exactly how much, insiders agree it's enough to keep the rest of the band living comfortably. But for Alice, it's not about the money.
I cared about the fact that we were living this great lifestyle, that every night there was a huge audience there, and they loved the music, and they loved the show. The last thing on my mind was, how much is a ticket? I don't know. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how much a ticket is tonight.
For the ultimate showman, it's all about entertaining the audience.
I think if you can make an audience go, ooh, and oh, how did he do that? Where did that come from? You know, if you can bewilder an audience and entertain them at the same time, if you can run the audience through a gamut of emotions, that's great.
After 40 years of decapitations, spurting blood, two-headed babies, and the odd leather-clad dominatrix, he has some words of advice for some of the newer kids on the block.
Too many bands are so self-righteous and so self-important. And, you know, you get to a point where you just want to say, hey, it's rock and roll, come on. You know, if you do have a positive statement to make, great. Put it in the lyrics. Send it out there. Wonderful. But let's not try to make rock and roll a political, you know, standard or a political soapbox to stand on. I just hate that. It just kills the whole idea. Why bands like that should have to wear gray suits and ties, you know? I mean, I think that's awful.